Okay, I think we are, but their little bar has to go across to know for sure that we are. But hi everyone. um, let's see. It kind of looks like you can only see me. Let me double check here. I want to make sure. Hi guys. Say hi if you're watching, and then, oh, this is probably better. I bet now you can see both of us. The hope and goal is that you can see both CJ and I for this live stream. And we're coming to you from different places. CJ's at work, and I'm at home working. And we're really excited to share with you. CJ, I'm really grateful that you said yes. To being willing to share about some of our journey with me actually healing my relationship with men. And I had a few different people say, like, we'd love to see you to talk about this. Um and that's kind of what prompted this. But I feel such a tremendous just gratitude for CJ's presence in my life. Yes, he's my husband and all of the things. Oh, yay. Hi, Dee Dee. So of course, for all those reasons, but I believe that CJ and I made contracts with each other before we came to this life. And that one of the things that he promised he would help me with is the fact that, throughout my genealogy, all these men have really hurt the women in my line. That's in my DNA. It's in my story. And then I've had my own life experiences, and CJ hasn't been perfect either. He has been the source of my hurt many, many times. But because he was willing to say yes to doing this journey with me, and we both kept saying yes to ourselves and to each other, we both were able to heal stuff so massively. And by him being him and showing me all of him, it helped me like clear away all these boulders that felt like heavy and like they could never go away, and be able to actually feel like I could rest in men and receive men, because CJ showed me over and over, even times when I forced him to prove to me that he was safe and that he could be safe, even though he's not perfect. So CJ, thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, absolutely, baby.
This is pretty typical of our dynamic. I'm like super serious, and CJ's like lighthearted and go with the flow. Babe,
Yep.
tell us about, and don't feel like you're in the hot seat or there's like a ton of pressure to say the right thing or whatever. We just want to hear your experience. But tell us about, like, describe a day in the life before I had allowed myself to like really receive you or heal or understand you.
I'd be happy to do that. Um, I think when it comes to like a day in the life of, there really isn't much to say because it just seems like the days are very similar in the sense of like we just do the normal day-to-day activities now that we did before as well. It's just how we connect and respond to each other is very different. So that's really the thing that's changed. I mean, the day in the life of before was like, yeah, we'd wake up, we had 4 kids, we were overwhelmed, and I'd go to work. I guess there are a lot of things that have changed, but it really just comes down to how I feel. So I think, and what I experience before, there's just a lot of resentment. There's a lot of anger and frustration that I would have. I was very passive aggressive towards you. You were very critical of me all the time. I knew the things I was already failing at. And I had my own voice going and my own stories going. And then anytime, like when I get home from work, you would be right there. And I mean, you weren't always on top of me, but most of the time it was kind of like, well, that voice in my head of like how I wasn't doing enough was your voice, because you were my biggest critic. And so yeah, that was really a day in the life of it. Just was hard to connect. We'd snap more at the kids, more frustration, um, just feeling trapped. Just wasn't really happy. There just wasn't a lot of progress in a lot of different areas of our life as well. That's kind of what it was like before.
I so appreciate you sharing that, and that makes me emotional. I still feel a lot of sorrow for, even though I feel compassion for like how I showed up, I feel a lot of sorrow for it as well because I, to know that my voice was that critical voice in somebody's head, like, was that critical voice in your head, like, I don't think I've ever heard you say that. It's like, oh, that's so sad. Like, I don't want that. And and yet I would wager that would be an interesting public experiment. I would wager that that's probably true for a lot of partnerships, that the wife's voice is the voice of criticism.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and that's a tragedy, right? Like, I never wanted that to be my voice, and yet it was. Um, Yeah, I think when I think about a day before, I was also full of resentment and often feeling like, why can't he just do the things? Like, whether it was do the things he said he was going to do the things I asked him to do, make progress on things like my timeline for how long it took you to advance in your career, or like whatever. It was always like, this should be happening on my timeline, and it's not. And I wasn't very aware in my own personal self. It wasn't until hindsight that I could look back and see I was doing all of that from fear. Like, it felt like my husband has the key to make or break everything in my life. And I have trusted him, right? I've had children with him, I've married him. And there was a long period of time where I was also a stay-at-home mom. So financially, too, it was like I can't breathe. There's no space for weaknesses because we're all gonna die if he messes up. And how oh, that feels so yucky. Um, so I'm super, super grateful. I'm grateful to myself that I'm free from that level of fear as well. And I think a lot of that came from that healing process of really leaning in and seeing you differently. Really, really trying to understand you. So, it wasn't pretty, that journey of understanding you. It started with me demanding that you understand me. Um, because this is a two-way street, right? But but for our situation, the story goes that I demanded it. And CJ had to jump through a lot of hoops to prove to me that he was safe. But once he did that, and once we got to a place where it was like, oh, wow, like I really love this man and I really do feel safe with this man, then there was actually a lot there that I hadn't reciprocated. I hadn't really even seen how much my actions were like stepping all over you and stuff. So then we entered a phase of like really me seeking to understand like what the experience was like for you, what your life is like for you, what it's felt like to be in a man's shoes and have the like societal pressures and everything to be you. And it felt like a whole nother side of my heart opened up.
And I think too, a big part of that journey is still happening on a deeper level. There's been a lot more honesty, especially if you looked at doing this course. It's like, oh my gosh, and asked some really intense questions and got some really vulnerable, honest answers. And it's just opened up a whole new space for us. But definitely, I would say there's a time where we really grew a lot. I know we were talking about this a little bit. Well, we talk about all this stuff all the time, but like in 2021, we just saw huge growth. And so it was super exciting and it was a lot of fun. And I know people talk about growth and it's like, oh, it's so hard and difficult. And there are some hard parts about it. But I look back and like, really, we've just had so much great stuff. I mean, we've had our sex life increased and was amazing and was fantastic, different than it had ever been. Our ability to just connect with just regular physical touch, you know, without leading to sex, like that was amazing. For me to be able to just have that space to be human and have my own follies and be able to tell you like, oh my gosh, I know that I still haven't fixed the fence, or that, oh, I know I still need to do that financial thing, but I haven't done it. Like there's so many different levels and different things. I mean, those are some of the bigger things, but there's so much more too. I mean, taking out the trash and all that. Anyways, just allowing that space, especially in 2021, there's just so much growth and things that happened that led to where we're at now here, almost the last quarter of 2022. And it's just been amazing to see that growth that we've gone through and to experience it now. Because I think of now, a day in the life of now, it's like, oh my gosh, we still do a lot of the same activities. We still have 4 kids that go to school. I go to work and I come home. I still have my weaknesses, but we can just connect so quickly, which is really, really nice, because it's like, oh man, we got 30 minutes, you know, it's like, oh, we can still connect in that time and feel so deeply heard and loved and together. And it's just so great because there's not that resentment or the anger or frustration anymore. I can still suck at fixing things or taking care of things, like the jackhammer is still sitting out in the backyard. Just so many things that you see all the time, and you still just love me. And it's just great because I should probably take care of that tonight. And if I don't, you're still going to connect with me and be there for me and support me. And you're not going to just nag on me every time about it. And oh, it's just so much more fun. I just feel like life is so much more enjoyable. So much, I mean, there's still challenges, of course. We still have hard times and we still have our own weaknesses, and it's just so much better though. And yeah, so it's just really great.
I loved when you said that resentment is gone, and I like physically felt that, like, because I mean, it was a longer process for us. You know, I was kind of just like doing it on my own, not really knowing what I was doing. And obviously, making this course was to help women like catapult and catalyze this process so that it can be dramatic and big and make a big difference in your life now. But it was a long journey for us, and I so to actually like go from, like, you know, point A to point B, it's like it seriously feels like something is gone, and it feels so good. um to have that. I think too, some of the other things that feel like they've really changed for me are our ability to banter and play. Like, I don't think that we would have
Yeah.
necessarily called you sensitive, but like, it's
Oh,
like I
nice.
couldn't really like poke at you. I couldn't like, and I'm so that way. Like, I'm such a playful, like, and I can be kind of like sarcastic. It can be kind of mean sometimes. Probably maybe I'm still need to work on that. But like, one of the biggest things I used to say was like, debate with me, like, let's, you know, but I don't think there was ever that safety for you to feel like, you know, you really could. So you would just stay quiet, because if you said I was wrong or you won the debate or whatever, like, what were the repercussions going to be of that? And now there's not repercussions, like, and we both just feel that. So there's a lot more like banter and play and stuff. That's been really
Yeah,
fun.
I was just gonna say too, it's been so much more fun, and there's times you were sensitive, and because there's just so much anxiety and criticism, yeah, it's just not there. So yeah, we have a lot more fun now. Even with our kids, our whole family, I feel like too. We're able to have just a lot more fun.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing that something that came kind of as a surprising result of really seeking to understand you and accept all of you, even the parts that you were showing to me that I detested. I mean, there were parts that you showed to me that I felt like these are literally threatening my life. Like these are things, you know, about your past or things like this that it was like, I can't, like, I can't. I felt like I honestly, I can't do this, right? But as I sought to really embrace who you are as a person, it brought on this transformational effect of me feeling the same about myself. Those parts of myself that I was can't, can't even, I want to just pretend like those never happened or those never existed or those thoughts never went through my mind or whatever. And instead, I found myself being like, oh, yeah, like, here's mine. What do you think? Like, can you still love me? And even though you really, really know me in the highs and the lows and the mess and all the ways. And so that was like a really beautiful, I think benefit of doing this work that I wouldn't have expected. Um, you also talked about
Yeah.
our 2021, which was so massive. So some of the other really surprising results of creating this kind of intimacy, this kind of relationship where there's just this beauty and this openness, this acceptance, this understanding. Um, 2021 came along and I started feeling into some dreams that I had sort of shelved because it felt like there's no way that we'll ever be able to access that kind of thing that I want. And I started to let my heart be open to those things again. And I think because we had already created this foundation in 2020 and before that, um, CJ just started responding like crazy. Like it wasn't even like I was like, hey, we have to be on stage together. So do whatever you have to do so we can get on stage together. Like I just shared, like, this is where my heart is and whatever. And CJ started like reading all these books and doing all this personal development work and went out and interviewed like tons of male coaches and hired a coach and like just it was like he was like tackling life. It was like, oh my gosh, because our learning style is very different. It was really surprising to see him just like kind of go after all this stuff. And I know you got to go soon. We'll hurry up and finish. um I the way that that culminated was that I was busy writing a chapter for a multi-author book that I was planning to be a part of, and I'm writing away, and in the middle of me writing, CJ goes, I'd like to talk about that too. I'd like to be in that book. And I was like, what? And so I went to the publisher. And then, as you guys may or may not know, CJ and I are published together. We wrote a chapter together. It was like, what? Like we went from the beginning of 2021 to me being like, CJ probably won't ever be a part of this world that I'm in, to him being like directly involved in coaching with me and like running lives with me and like doing all this stuff. And though it's not his primary like job, it has fulfilled so many of my desires. And I don't think he would have felt permission to show up and like try and fail and do all this stuff had we not like done this work beforehand. Do you think that's true, CJ?
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's no way.
Cool. Well, okay, let's finish with one last question, which is, if you could go back to like your 2014 version of yourself
Mhm.
and say something to him about where your marriage is now, or like something hopeful or something, what would you go back and what would you say to him? Advice or encouragement or whatever you think.
Hmm. I don't think I would have given any advice because I don't think I would have listened, even to myself. Um, but definitely the encouragement would be, you know, you've seen the movies of like the happy endings. It's like they do exist, and you will find that. Not only will you find it, but it's going to be finding it with Melissa, the person that you committed to, and just sharing that. I think would have given so much hope of like, oh my gosh, like just said. I think I just told myself she won't be like this forever. I think that's what I told myself. I'd have been like, oh my gosh, okay, that's fantastic. Yeah, that's been the biggest thing is, and even myself too. Like you won't be like this forever. But at the time, I just wanted to hear that the person outside of me was gonna change, and they were gonna solve all my problems. Which that didn't happen. It's not how it works. Um, but at the time, I know I wouldn't have listened to somebody saying like, "Oh, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a good job." I'd have been like, "Oh," knowing my 2014 self very well. That's probably what I would have shared.
I love that. Even you saying like she won't be like this forever, I'm like, oh. I know that's like such a I know that's an obstacle for women, right? Is to feel like I'm the one that has to do all the changing or whatever. And while I do, like I've seen that pattern over and over, I really do believe we are the gatekeepers for some reason, right? Like at this time, at this stage and day and age, women are the gatekeepers that open up that door to that healing. But I think so often our men, like they've been conditioned to not do any of that inner work. Plus, it's not really in the spirit of masculine energy to go inward. It's about going outward, looking outward. So men have to see really that they're super safe and supported to go inward in order to ever even like really consider doing that work unless you've got a really kind of unique man. But I never actually had to do all the work. Like anytime I told myself that, it was total crap. That wasn't the case because CJ would get inspired and he would go do the work in his own way. Sometimes I had to show myself how he was doing the work because it looked different than how I was. So anyway, I love that. And the reality is that is what you would have loved to hear. She won't be like this forever. And it's
Yeah,
true.
I like what you're saying too. It goes both ways for me and for you. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I had to change and I had to accept myself and all those things too. And that's what's become so beautiful is we've done that for ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
All
if I
right, baby, I gotta run.
Sure. Okay, you go. I'm going to share my last little piece, but thanks for joining
Okay,
us. Love
love
you.
you.
Bye. I'll answer that question too because I think it's pertinent for those of you who are listening or if you're considering joining the course. What would I have shared with my like 2014 version of myself that I would have said? I would have probably said like, oh man, I was so tough. I was so scared, but on the outside, I was so tough. I would have probably asked her to hold my hand for a minute and take a couple deep breaths with me. And I would have asked her if she could possibly open up her heart so that she could use her ears of her heart, not her regular ears, to hear what I'm about to say. Because my regular ears would have been like, no, I don't need help. I don't need all this. No, 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 no. And I would say, he's absolutely perfect for you. There are beautiful lessons in this. And on the other side, you are going to feel like this is a gift. You are going to feel like everything you've been through is a tailored gift for you. What you're actually doing is unleashing your heart. What you're actually doing, setting yourself free. Yes, it's about seeing him and accepting all parts of him, but it's also about bringing forward this part of you that can be with the mess, that can be with the paradox of life, that can just be open and receiving, that can allow life to flow through her instead of feeling like every moment of every day is like this. And also, on the other side, you're gonna be a sex vixen and you're gonna like love sex. I would have been like, what? And also, you're gonna be so like infatuated by this man who's not perfect. Like, he doesn't change his body. He's not gonna lose weight. Like, from 2014 to now, nope, his body's gonna be the same or maybe even gain some weight. And you're gonna be so infatuated and you're gonna love your life and you're gonna love the life you have with your children. And it's not gonna be so hard. That's what I would say. Guys, thanks for joining today. I just see a couple comments, so I don't know if there's more, but my friends, we've pushed enrollment back to Understanding Him to Friday at noon. You have to be in by noon because the first call is at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so if you get in by noon on Friday, then you are golden and we would love to have you. It's a mini course, but I have felt so called and I still feel that there are women who want this and are afraid to jump. And that's the reason we've extended the enrollment. I can just feel there are women who want this and who need this and whose spirits are crying out for this, who haven't said yes quite yet. So we've extended this enrollment. Please, DM me and I'm happy to talk with you about if it's the right fit or any, questions that you may have. And if you ultimately decide that you're not going to do the course, my wish for you is that you feel absolutely safe around men because you deeply trust yourself and you deeply trust the men that you choose to spend the most time with. That they're good men and that when they are good men, you are fully open to receiving them in whatever capacity. I just had the experience a week and a half ago where I had posted about this in the group, and I'll just wrap up with this story, but I posted about this in the group that I had a dream that I reached out to my father-in-law and asked him to be my father. And I woke up like so emotional. If you followed any of my story, you know that my dad died when I was 12, and never in my life has it occurred to me to allow someone into that space that has just been an empty, gaping, aching hole since I was 12. And the dream was like, where did this come from? But because I've been doing this work of healing at deeper layers with men, I was like, I think I need to act on this. And I sat on it for like a month. Then I texted it to him. I said, I'm texting you this because I'm too chicken to have this conversation in person. And I said, this is the dream that I had. And it occurred to me that my father-in-law has been in my life longer then my dad was mortally in my life, physically, tangibly in my life. I had my dad for 12 years. I've already been married to my husband and known his dad for almost 15 years. Isn't that wild? He's a good man. He loves me. He wants to support me. He loves our family. He loves his son. They have a great relationship. I always kept him at a distance. So about a week and a half ago, he invited me to lunch and was so sweet. Like opened the door for me, pulled my chair out for me, paid for my lunch, and said he'd like to do this once a month. And it felt like literally the most natural thing I've ever done. I kept thinking we're going to have some big conversation because I really hadn't treated him very well. And I said that in my text, like, I know I've kept you at a distance, but he's not that way. He didn't have anything we needed to address. He was just right there with me, like, tell me about your business and tell me about your life. And I can't believe that somebody did that to your kid. And he was just like, he was a father. It was like so amazing. So I want you guys to have miracle stories like that to share about the good men that are in your life. I think that these are too good for just me to have. Everybody needs to have these, and how much that will benefit our planet. All right, guys, thanks again. Bye.